Hi YouTube, Mr. Zodo8449 here, and today I'm doing a tutorial on how to paper mache to give you a nice finish that gives you the ability to paint on it really nicely. Now, I know it sounds simple, but there's a few things that I've picked up over time that makes it work a lot better. And I think these are some things I'm just going to tell you guys, and hopefully you'll be able to use that on your layouts. Now the other option basically is Plaster Rock, which works really well. It's very easy to use and it goes absolutely rock solid, but it is quite expensive compared to paper mache, which costs you literally the cost of, well, if I took this from the kitchen, it wouldn't cost me anything than paper towels, but I'll come back to that in a minute. So I'll just quickly explain what I did with the hill before I got to this stage. Now you saw it last time you saw this, it was, well, the previous update I mean, this was in like a block form out of quite thick polystyrene, and then the previous update you saw it with the paper mache on top. So this is how it looked without the paper mache on top, but it's all been sculpted. Basically what I did is I had the blocks down, let the glue set 100%, and then picked up a knife, just cut it all out, the rough shape. I then picked up sandpaper, rubbed over the whole of the top of it, which gives it this really nice finish. It's very smooth and everything. I will say polystyrene is incredibly messy to work with, so if you do ever start cutting and shaping it, I'd always recommend doing it either outside or on a hard surface so you can sweep it up quite easily. But I did this outside. It was a nice hot sunny day, so it was absolutely no problem. So then, what do you need? Well, you need to have some kitchen roll. I recommend kitchen roll is the best thing. One, it's absorbent, so it soaks up the glue mixture, but it doesn't rip, which is really important compared to like toilet paper. I've tried that before, and it basically soaks up and then just rips, so you cannot use toilet paper, don't even go there. Kitchen roll is the best. You can use newspaper. The only problem with that is then you have writing on the hills, and you have to put quite a few layers of paint on to hide the writing. And the other one you can use is white, just plain white paper, but I find it a bit too thick, and it doesn't absorb the glue quite well. It really doesn't absorb the glue, so you can't use that. So I'd recommend using kitchen roll. It's the best thing to use. Cut it into lengths. I took a sheet of kitchen roll, cut it in 5, and then cut it in half. So I have one piece of kitchen roll. I got 10 little pieces of paper. Then in here is my glue mixture. Most people say 50-50 glue water. But the more glue you add, the harder it goes harder quicker. I mean, it doesn't dry as quickly, but it goes harder quicker. It's hard to explain. But anyway, so I've used about a 60-40 glue to water mix. There's slightly more glue in there. Now, the reason I recommended getting smaller pieces is the more pieces you overlap, like so, you just bung on, just a big handful there. The more pieces you overlap that, the better the finish will be. Now, if you use lots of long pieces, one, it's very difficult to get the glue on it easily, and two, you'll cover over a large area, but with only one piece. So it's easy if you use small. I think it looks better if you use two. So very simply, I'll try and not get in the camera too much. Dip it in the glue. I just then pinch my fingers together like that, and pull off the excess glue. Bring it over to where you want it to go. Place it on, like so. And then rub your finger like so. I'll go again. And it's just a matter of repeating this over and over and over again until you've covered everything with your sheets. Now, there is some cases which is appropriate to have bigger sheets. Some places you really want small sheets. It does vary on the shape, but on this particular hill there's no odd or strange shapes, so just using nice thinner stuff is easier. Now when you get to track, don't go on top of the black of the track, because when you try and add your ballast, it won't sit correctly, the ballast won't sit down correctly. So this is where I find a pair of scissors is quite useful. And all I literally do is just rub the flat edge of the scissors around the bottom like so, and it pushes out the shape of it. There we go. And now none of that is actually lifted up on the black bit. Just do it again. So I'm going to carry on now doing this, and then I will turn the camera back on when I start to get over to the more fiddly area towards the top where that tunnel entrance is. So yeah, I'm going to put this one on and then turn off the camera. I'll say one thing, I'm going to double it. As well as doubling it, I'm going to be putting on a different angle, like so. And I'll explain more about that once I've done more work on it. So I've gone over the whole of it now, covered it all in 2 layers of paper mache, and as you can see, it's looking quite good. Now one thing I will say, with paper mache, unlike Plaster Rock, you can't really shape in the same way, so you really want to have your basic shape already done, hence why I use sandpaper and smoothed it all off. So the paper mache sits right on the top, you can smooth it down with your fingers. Once you've done it all, I've already done this stage, but then just dip your fingers into the glue and then just rub it over the top of all of it, just to smooth down any bumps or grooves or anywhere where the paper hasn't quite sat down correctly. And then you have got to leave it for at least 24 hours, ideally 48 hours, for it to dry absolutely solid before you start putting paint on it. So as you can see, it's white, it's very white. But it's good now because of the other thing I'll say about using kitchen roll instead of anything else is, although it's got like a textured sort of finish to it, lots of bubbles and yeah, like almost like a golf ball, that sort of texture, but when you rub the glue over it, actually flattens all that off and it goes just dead smooth. So it's really good for working on well, for doing basic scenery. Now it doesn't matter if you've got like little lumps and bumps and so on in just a few places, like I've just noticed one right at the back there. The reason it doesn't really matter is because you're going to be painting it and then putting static grass on the top, so by the time you've finished it honestly will not be noticeable. So as you can see, what I'm doing now, I'm just smoothing out that corner there to make sure it's properly good. There we go. And yeah, there's not much more really to say about that. I will just finish off this video by waiting for it to dry solid, and then you'll be able to see exactly how it sort of looks and feels when it's done. But yeah, I'd really recommend using this method for doing your hills and so on. If you really want to, you could paint straight onto the top of the polystyrene, but I think you'll have a little bit of a slap knee there. But I think you'll have problems with the paint. You have to put a few layers on it before you really get rid of the texture of the polystyrene. So I really would recommend just using this PVA glue, dirt cheap, kitchen roll, really cheap. Don't need anything special, and it comes up with a really nice finish. So yeah, I'm going to leave this 2 days before we come back to it, and then we can have a look and see how it's done. So it's been 48 hours actually, and this has now gone absolutely solid everywhere. I'm really happy with the way this is actually finished. You can hopefully just about hear it. It's got a good finish to it. Obviously if I use plaster cloth, then this would be like you hit it and it sounds like you're hitting a rock. So yeah, but it really doesn't matter because this here is nice, it's good solid. The other nice thing about this is you can actually very easily cut into it if you want to put trees or lampposts or signs or anything into this. You can very easily get into it, so I think that's really good. But as you can see, it comes up really nicely. It's got a really nice finish over all of it. Yeah, really quick and easy. So this is sort of as much as I'm going to go with this little tutorial. I've already done one on sort of painting and adding static grass and stuff like that. So this is just the paper mache. This is how I do it. Yeah, this is my method of choice. Everyone has their own method really, but I think this one works really well and I really like doing it. So yeah, I'd always really recommend that. So yeah, I'll just leave the camera on for a couple more seconds. You can just see how it looks. I think it'll come out really nicely. So thanks for watching. If you have any comments or questions or anything, then just leave them below. I'll get back to them as soon as possible. And yeah, thanks for watching.